Now from Washington to talk about the president's State of the Union address, NBC's political director, Chuck Todd. Chuck, thank you for joining us.
Happy to.
I can think back on State of the Union speeches. We've had one in the shadow of 9/11. We've had two presidents give their State of the Union under a cloud of impeachment. I cannot remember a modern time where a president just had more on his plate than President Biden has right now to talk about.
Yeah, I think the 9/11 comparison right after the first State of the Union after 9/11, when we were definitely a nation essentially heading to war, is about the closest modern parallel you can come. But you're right. I mean, this is we have no idea whether this has been the start of World War III. I think we all hope it doesn't ever get to that. But this is the fear, right? And this is the concern. And this is the moment we're at, where we have the Russians raising their nuclear threat level, if you will. So this is the backdrop of this State of the Union. So I think it's an incredibly important speech for the country. It's an incredibly important speech for Biden's presidency. Politically, he couldn't be in worse shape having to give this speech. But these are the circumstances he's in. And it's my understanding you're going to have a speech that's about half focused on the crisis with Ukraine and uniting the world against this tyrant in Putin. And about half of it is going to be focused on the domestic challenges. The president's going to try to feel the pain of the public when it comes to inflation and the frustration over sort of the post-COVID economic recovery. But the question I have is the public going to listen on the domestic stuff? I think they're very much paying attention to this threat in Ukraine and what Putin's doing. And I think in that sense, the president should realize more people will probably tune into this State of the Union than we've seen in recent years. But I don't know if anything he says on the domestic front will break through, but we'll see.
In the last minute or so we have here, State of the Union, let's talk about the disunion. We hear from the president tonight. We've got two other Democrats who are going to speak. We've got a couple of moderates who are going to speak. There's a Republican response.
I know.
And then Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to talk. I mean, there is no, well, it just shows how fractured the country is that everybody has an opinion they want heard.
Look, I think we're getting to the point. I had one member of Congress say to me, I think we're going to have 535 official responses to the State of the Union, thanks to TikTok and Instagram and you name it. Look, there is a fracturedness to the country right now. And that is, to me, you're actually hitting on a theme that I'm told the president is going to try to hit on, a theme of unity. How does he do it? Does it come across credibly? And is there any interest in that chamber from Republicans to participate in anything unifying, right? We're at a moment where I do think the crisis in Europe and the threat of Putin is an opportunity for the country to be a little more unified. I would argue, when people talk about the good old days of Washington functioning, they're actually talking about the Cold War era.
Right.
Because the Cold War era, for better or for worse, kept us somewhat united. Liberals and conservatives both feared the Soviet menace. Do we bring back that style of American governance and patriotism again?
Sure.
I think Biden's going to attempt that tonight. Obviously, I think we're a lot more fractured than we used to. So I don't expect the full embrace the way it used to be in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, as the Cold War ended, the culture war in this country just heated up. Chuck Todd, thank you so much for joining us. Always great to have you. Yep. Coming up on NBC Nightly News, Lester Holt will anchor his live coverage from Washington ahead of President Biden's first State of the Union address, what NBC News has learned about the president's last-minute preparations, what we can all expect to hear. That is coming up on the Nightly News. We'll be right back.